Hey everybody, I'm Axel, the Wondrous Writing Witch. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you're all having a wonderful week so far. And happy Pride Month to all my fellow members of the LGBTQIA community. For those who don't know, I am a nerdy, witchy, polyamorous, bisexual man. My pronouns are he, him, and hi, I love y'all. I hope we're having a wonderful month. I know it just started, but I hope we all have a kick-ass Pride Month. To start off this month, I wanted to mention some of my favorite characters that are a part of the Alphabet Mafia, and as always, I would love to chat with you guys about it in the comments. Please list your recommendations down below. I am always looking to grow my endless TBR. It is endless, but as long as I'm here, I'm gonna be reading and absorbing all of the content. So, hit me with your recommendations. I would love to chat with you guys in the comments. And as always, I would vastly appreciate if we could please the algorithm gods, like, subscribe, ring that bell. Otherwise, on to my favorite characters, part of the Alphabet Mafia. So we're going to start at the top of the acronym and work our way down. So starting with lesbians, one of my favorite lesbians of all time is Willow from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I can't attest, obviously, if it is quality representation because I am not a lesbian. So they go through different struggles than a gay man would go through or a bisexual man would go through. So I can't quantify if it is quality representation. However, for me, I really appreciated seeing Willow at such a young age for me, and it allowed me to kind of start the whole process of, accepting that I was not as normal as everybody else. And I don't want to use that word normal. I just wasn't like the majority of others. And instead, I could be a badass witch. And I loved her whole arc. I loved Dark Willow, I love her and Tara, so she had to be on this list. The second character on this list is Delphi from the Savior series. Not only is she just a boss-ass bitch and a badass and a great sister, but I really appreciate how being gay is not her whole character trait. It's really nice because as much of a part of our identity as it is not the whole picture. So when we get that, it is wonderful, and the author of this series did a fantastic job, in my opinion, of adding a good amount of LGBT rep in there without it being about somebody being gay. The third slot on this list is a tie between Van from Yellow Jackets. If you are caught up, then you are holding on to every bit of hope about that last statement to Van and what it means for Van. If you know, you know, and you are holding on to hope like I am. Otherwise, Robin from Stranger Things is one of my favorite representations of a lesbian in a more young adult and a kiddo setting. I generally don't read or watch a lot of young adult things because I'm an adult now and it's just not the vibe. But I love Stranger Things. The whole cast of Stranger Things is wonderful. But if I'm choosing one of the LGBT characters, it is definitely Robin. Sorry, Will. Anyhow, moving on to the gays. One of the gays that I want to mention is Josh from the originals. I have a lot of problems with the Vampire Diaries and their love for tokens and burying your gays because they do not do a good job. So this is actually not a quality representation, but I do love Josh. I think he is an adorable cinnamon roll before and after being turned into a vampire. If you think that's a spoiler, you haven't watched it because he's like human for like 30 seconds. But I do really like how his storyline goes for the most part before the bury your gays part. So take that with a grain of salt. Sometimes, if you understand, sometimes you do just watch the shitty representation because there's not enough to get you through. So you're just going to watch the shitty representation because at least it's something, and it's sad, and I hate it. So I would really like if we could just get some more good representation in there. But regardless, I love that bitch. Number 2 on this list is Salim from American Gods. Salim finds and then, I don't want to say falls in love with, because it's more of a worshipy relationship between Salim and the Ifrit. Ifrit? Sorry if I mispronounced that. But in American Gods, they have a very interesting relationship, and it is mostly one-sided, very like almost like a pet and its owner kind of relationship. And I know that's fucked up. It is kind of fucked up, but because of the divine aspect, it makes it interesting. It's not as weird. It's just fascinating. The whole concept of all the relationships between the gods and everyone else in American Gods is just super fascinating to me. And third on this list is Brimsley from Queen Charlotte or Bridgerton. He is the same character, but we get a lot more of his backstory in Queen Charlotte. And it's so cute and emotional. And poor Brimsley! He's just doing his goddamn best. Brimsley is adorable, and I cannot say enough nice things about Brimsley. Go watch Queen Charlotte and tell me you can't gush over this cinnamon roll, okay? It's just adorable. And I don't really like his partner. I don't even remember his partner's name because I just kept referring to him as the dick. But unfortunately, beggars can't be choosers in a lot of situations. My heart. Go watch it. Go watch Queen Charlotte. Go watch it. Moving on to the bisexuals of the Alphabet Mafia, I want to start off with Irene Winters from the Invisible Library series. We do not get a lot in terms of her being actively bisexual. She mostly pursues men, but as someone who is more 80-20 on the bisexual scale, you could be on that scale. I do not like bi erasure or where they kind of hint at it, like in Lucifer, where he's bi or pansexual, and really we don't get that. We get like one fake half-ass kiss. But in the Invisible Library with Irene, we know for a fact that she was seduced by a thief who was a woman and had a whole fiasco and a weird affair with a thief. We don't know too much. I haven't read the last book in the series. There's a lot of books in the series, so if there's more information about said thief, I hope we get more, and I hope the thief comes back. Otherwise, she's a little rocky on the quality, but I think she is a wonderful bisexual. I think she does still flirt with women from time to time, so at least we get the interest aspect versus just talking about it. There are definite points in the story where it's active instead of just a mention or a tweet or something like that. So I'm still counting her as a canonical bisexual because she is. So, Irene Winters. Hold your heartstrings for the next one because Quentin Coldwater, though they did him dirty in the TV show, I understand why the actor had to leave. But Quentin Coldwater, he is such an emotional little cinnamon roll. I keep calling everyone a cinnamon roll that I find adorable, but he is an emotional roller coaster. Q is bisexual panic at its finest, and I'm a fan. I relate to Quentin in a lot of ways, so I couldn't not bring him up. He is one of my favorite bisexual characters of all time. So if you haven't read the Magician's trilogy, I think it's a trilogy. I admittedly have only read 2 of the books and watched the TV show. I apologize. I know I'm awful. I'll get to it eventually. My TBR is never ending, but I'm here for a while yet, so I'll get there. And third on this list is another great example of a, actively bisexual character, and that is Clark Griffin from the 100. I love Clark. She is a badass and she does so much and gets repaid so little. Like, she gets her ass kicked over and over again. On to the transgender members of this group, I really like Terry, Terrestrius. Terry Terrestrius from The Dragon Prince. So I am very happy to see that we are getting more representation in kids shows, because they need to know that it is okay and that there are people that will love them no matter what. So Terry is adorable, he's a goofball, and he's a cute little elf. He is a cute little elf. Number 3 on this list is Nomi Marks from Sense8. Though the whole cluster could be considered a polycule of pansexuals because of their whole connection, Nomi Marks is one of the cluster. She is a transgender hacktivist, as well as someone who does articles about pride and things like that. And though I'm having a difficult time recalling what exactly she is going to have done, I'm basically attributing it to like a lobotomy. She's essentially going to get lobotomized in the start of the series, and her mother likes to dead name her, and it is awful, it is rough, but she has a wonderful partner, Amanita, and they melt my heart every single time. Every single time I watch the series, they melt my heart so much. And also, it's just a wonderful show. So the whole gang has there's a lot of good representation in this show, but Nomi Marks is one of my favorites. I think she is probably my favorite character of the whole cluster. So if you are looking for good representation, go watch Sense8. Unfortunately, they did cancel on us because Netflix sucks. But we already do that, so. And third on this list is Victor Hargreaves. We love Victor, okay? We love how seamless that Elliot Page's transition was to their character, to his character on set. I super appreciate that not only they did that for him, but they did it well. They basically were like, anyone got a problem with that? And they're like, no. Shush. We have bigger fish to fry. Like, we love you. So I was a super big fan of how they translated that onto screen and how they did that for Elliot. So I couldn't not mention Victor Hargreaves. So if you guys haven't seen The Umbrella Academy, why? Oh wait, go watch it. Okay. I'm assuming you watched it and you came back, and if you didn't, how dare you? Go watch it. It's a fever dream, for sure, but it's wonderful. So, wonderful, great representation in that show as well, and just an all-around great cast, a great story. Next on the acronym, we're going to go with queer all around, just because finding questioning members in stories is a little difficult, because generally they do end up making a decision one way or the other, so it was hard to find examples. But queer in general, we're going to go with Chloe Henson from The Villains Code. She is pansexual. I love her. She is one of my favorite metas, and she has a preference of people just generally her size. And so I just wanted to mention Chloe because she is one of my favorite metas. Her ability is to make cliche phrases come to life, and I love her. Next on this list is Sailor Uranus, who goes by they, them pronouns, and we can all just have more examples of what it's like to just be loved and accepted. In this setting, I love it so much. It's pretty brushed over, which is almost how it should be, because it's not important. You just need to respect people and, go by the pronouns they go by. It's not that hard. So I love that just very laxed example. Moving down to the I for intersex of the alphabet mafia, it was kind of hard to find good examples here. I'm not sure if Desire from the Sandman series qualifies, if they're just androgynous, if they are actually intersex, so I apologize if that is not a correct representation. I apologize. Moving down to a more canonical character is Lauren from Faking It. She is intersex. She was born with some different reproductive organs, and so she had to have some surgery for that, and it is a secret. She is in high school. She doesn't really want people to know. It's, I did not end up finishing this series, but I do remember Lauren, and even though she is kind of a bitch, I appreciate when someone can be a bitch sometimes. So, take that with a grain of salt. But the third character on this list is Stevani from Steven Universe. When Steven and Connie fusion, according to their profile and that whole thing, they are intersex. And so I wanted to bring light to Steven Universe because, one, I love Steven Universe. The whole ideology of, the fusions come up a lot, and they can mean different things for different fusions, different people. I also really appreciate they just have an interesting, conversation all the time. They constantly check in about making sure that they are both okay. They're constantly going back for consent, whether they still want to be this one being. And I'm aware that, intersex people in reality are not two people in one body. Like I said, this one was kind of hard for me to find quality characters to recommend. So, I apologize. If you guys have any recommendations, I would love to read up on those so very much. So, moving on to the Ace umbrella, we're going to start with Isaac from Heartstopper. Heartstopper is an adorable show. It's a cute little graphic novel, and Isaac is asexual, and I hope we get more out of his character in this second season, and that he is able to get more of a spotlight because he is a great best friend, and he was a little underplayed, in my opinion, in the first season, so I hope we get more out of Isaac. The second person on this list is Abby from The Imperfects. She is asexual, homoromantic. I don't know if her asexuality just straight up comes from her pheromone condition, or if she just doesn't vibe. She's just asexual. Either which way, she is asexual, and it is important to give them good representation like we have here. There is some crazy shit that goes on. She is a young adult trying to just manage life while being hunted and having powers. So it was an interesting little nod, and especially for someone who is quote-unquote a succubus. So very interesting, very interesting. I loved it. And the last character on this list is, sorry, I have to look at the list, Jughead Jones. In the comics, Jughead is asexual. They did not do the best job translating that into the TV show, in my opinion. But my opinion only stretches so far because I am not asexual. But in general, if we're going to the OG, to the Archie comics, Jughead was an asexual man, and he was just trying to vibe. He was just trying to be a kid and have these wacky adventures in the Archie comics. It does get a little intense and a little wonky in the show, though. But we're talking about the comics. So that is my list of examples for the Alphabet Mafia. If you guys have some, I would love to chat with you guys in the comments below. Please give me all the recommendations you got. I am always looking to expand this list. Until next week, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. I love you guys and spread all the love and joy you can. Bye.